Good morning to you all, good morning. It is today, Sunday, the 26th of April 2020. Really ought to do something about that dragon. Might put it back to bed. Sunday the 26th of April 2020. It is today the third Sunday of Easter. It's a lovely day, isn't it? There's a freshness in the air and the sun is up behind the trees. Now, those of you that read such things may know that today the Gospel reading is the reading describing two gentlemen walking on the road to, now I always say Emmaus, but I'm sure some of you say it differently, who find themselves walking with another man, and they talk, and they don't know who this man is, and they're a little bit surprised that he doesn't seem to know what it is that has just taken place in Jerusalem. And they talk, and then they invite him to stay with them for the night. And during the meal, or at the start of the meal, he takes the bread and breaks it. Yeah, well, today I'm going to be taking a road which is, these days, that's a little bit of a rare pleasure. We have various restrictions which I am complying with. However, one of the reasons I'm allowed to make the journey that I'm going to today is to visit what the authorities describe as vulnerable people. The vulnerable person I'm going to go and see today, I've got some bits and pieces to take, and theoretically it's for her welfare, but it's trust me, I think I gain more from it than she does. But we undoubtedly will break bread today. So there we are. Look at that. Les haricots are all doing rather nicely. I've still got loads to do. Loads and loads. I spend a certain amount of time on the telephone every day with friends in England. And what I'm hearing is that you're all bored, you're all locked down, and you're bored, you don't know what to do. Well, I'm locked down, and I don't know how to get everything done. Yeah, much too much to do. But there we are. Right, I suppose I ought to make myself look a little bit more civilised. There's some lovely little flowers here. They're little bulbs, and they were a free gift if you bought a big bag of bulbs. And I don't know what they're called, but aren't they delightful? Well, I've brought you along this road before. It's Sunday, Dimanche, third Sunday of Easter. Yeah, I'm travelling along this road towards Villiers. It is a duty sort of that's come my way to visit this particular old lady. For legal reasons, I'm going to describe her as vulnerable. But in so many ways, she's so much more resilient than most of us, I would suggest. And I use the word duty. So often when we think about a duty, we think about that in terms of an imposition, something we perhaps don't want to do. Well, that's just not the case. This duty is a very great pleasure for me, because it gets me out too. So there we are. I'm going to do my duty and I shall thoroughly enjoy it. What a lovely, lovely day it is. The crops are growing well, aren't they? That's wheat of various sorts. Doublé. Because of course life does go on. The planet hasn't stopped. You know, we still go around the sun. We still turn round once a day. The grass still grows. The trees still come into leaf and blossom and fruit and all sorts. It's actually a lovely place to live, isn't it? Well, it's been a lovely day. It still is a lovely day. Sun is lighting up those trees beautifully. Yeah, what have I done today? Well, I went and visited a vulnerable person. As I say, I say that in honesty. She is a vulnerable person, but there's a little bit of tongue-in-cheek because she manages to live a very independent life in a house. Yes, she's got neighbours. The nearest neighbours are people of a similar age, aged, you know, in their mid to late 70s, and they all live in a little hamlet close to the town of Villiers. And yeah, she cooked me dinner while I pumped up the tyres on her car that she hasn't used for a month now, but the tyres were a little bit sort of, well, they was only flat at the bottom, so you know that's not too much of a problem, is it? You just pump the bottom up, you don't have to pump the whole tyre up. Yeah, so that was good. That was a pleasant sort of run out, and absolutely legal, permitted under all of the lockdown rules and all of that sort of thing. And we understand the risks, dangers, so on and so forth. And yeah, it was one of those had to be done things. Then I came back, and you know, I've been slowly doing a bit, but every time you turn round, there's something else to do. That's the thing with the garden. Since I came back, that's how many weeds I've pulled out. They do grow well. I ought to see if there's a market for them, didn't I really? But I think where the sun is now and how it's moved around the garden, I think it's time for me to sit down and, I don't know, I could read a book. I keep looking at my neighbour's pear tree. It's going to have fruit on this year. It had quite a bit of flower on it, but ever so high up. And oh, it wants some maintenance, doesn't it? Wants all that ivy cutting off it. Wouldn't hurt to take some of the mistletoe out and some of those dead branches. I look at those and think firewood. Actually, I look at those and think firewood, but I think the mayor would get a bit humpy if I cut them down for my firewood. I like these trees just as well, really. During the day you see wonderful things in them. The birds, of course, love them, and the squirrels. I keep hoping to be able to film squirrels, but you know what they're like. They don't stand still for you. And here, of course, they are red European squirrels, which is a delight. But yeah, it's been a good day. Look at that, grow your own fish. Well, can't grow the fish, but we'll grow our own chips. And this is, for me, this is all part of the pleasure of gardening. What we're looking at here is some little rose bushes. Now, where they came from, if I stand up slowly, because, you know, we do, see that wall there? There is a rose the other side of that throws great long rambly sort of stems. And last October I said to the chap who owns this house, would you like me to just cut that off? And he said yes, he said. So I did. And I didn't throw it over his fence for him to get rid of. I cut it into little short lengths and planted it. And that's 1, 2, that's pleasing. 3, 4, 5, but look at this. Flower buds. Isn't that wonderful? Going to be interesting lifting those. I shall lift those very carefully and find somewhere better for them than this little nursery bed. When I lift them, I'll get rid of all of the weed at the same time. I've got to think carefully about where I'm putting these. They're probably going to end up against a fence, which they will grow through and flower and just be beautiful. And the gooseberries, I need to do some more work here, but look at that, isn't that smashing the way that's growing? There's a stick here simply to stop me running it over with the lawnmower, because that would be bad, wouldn't it? But I think next year they will have a little bit of fruit on them, and the year after that they'll have a lot of fruit on. Hopefully, and I've eaten the fruit off the plant that I cut them from, and they are delicious. Right, well, the day is done. It's now, what is it? Oh, it's 6 minutes past 9 o'clock. And these hands have been doing all sorts of things for the last month or so, mainly involving hammers and cold chisels and shovels and all sorts of things. So I thought I really ought to see just how well they're going to hold up when I start playing tunes to be shared publicly. And the first thing that I realise is my fingernails is too long, so I think I ought to do something about that. Yep. Yes, let's find me manicure set. Well, I think that's a little bit better. I think I'm just gonna see what my fingers can do. Yeah, not a lot. That wasn't too sad. Yeah, I think they need loosening up, but yeah. And some of you may know that tune, some of you won't, but you might have not noticed that I actually missed out a bit. Ah dear, what was I supposed to be doing? I was supposed to be practicing yeah, we need a lot of work on this.